Welcome to Kun Unmuted. Today is the launching of the show, the first episode. I have my boy, my main man. Some would say my BFF, Yuri. Uh, I think it was right that he's the first guy that I interview on the show because when I was thinking about doing something like this, he was the guy. He was the guy that I thought of. You know, all the time that we've been together, the fun that we had together. I was like, okay, if I want to do this, why am I doing this? And then it just hit me. I'm like, oh yeah, I have a bunch of story. We hang out. We went to school together. You and I, you came on campus, stay with me sometime. I stay with you sometime. And I was like, yeah, he's the right guy um, to interview for my first episode and the launching of the show. And another reason I wanted to have you first is that if it works out, I want you to be the first to launch me into the fame, you know? But if it doesn't work out, I want to be able to blame you. You
Yes.
see that?
On on the flip side, if in 1 year's time you're not getting free promo stuff from companies, and you're not making the big bucks, you will know who to blame. So,
Exactly. So that was one of the reasons why I was like, okay, he's the guy that I want to interview. To be in all seriousness, you made my time in America a little bit easier. You were one of the guys that I met the first time, and our friendship just clicked, organic, and it was just I won't use the term magical because that's we can't use it. We can't really say that, but it
let's
was
leave
one.
it. Let's leave it for Kobe and Shaq. Or
Exactly. Kobe and Shaq, they were magical. Us,
yeah.
we were just regular guys hanging out, having fun. But now that I have you here, welcome to the show. Khan, I'm muted. I'm Khan, Yuri. Go introduce yourself to the people watching.
Yeah, thanks, man, for having me as your first guest. Obviously, it's a big honor. And when you told me about the idea, about what you're trying to do, how you're trying to connect people and show how coming from different cultures, how you can come across obstacles, how you can immerse yourself into a different culture, into different community, whatever it is. I thought that you are the perfect guy for that. You lived through it, you've seen it all, having lived in Togo, in France, in Minnesota, in Mexico, in California, traveling all over the world with the Navy duties. I mean, you're the guy. So I'm definitely honored and happy to be your first guest, and I'll do my best. So
Oh no, you already doing your best, man. I can see you poised and it's like you've done this before. I feel like you've done this before. You're lying to me. You've been recording, somewhere in your basement over there. You've been recording. I could tell. I could tell.
one
Yeah,
one thing I can tell you is when I asked my daughter, the older one, she's 6 years old.
yeah.
Who do you want to be? And she tells me, I definitely want to be a blogger.
Right.
She doesn't even think it, and she says, I definitely want to be a blogger.
So after this, show her the video.
So
Show her.
I told her that I'm going in the basement, and please do not interrupt, do not run into and interrupt the episode. And they were like, when is he coming? When's the video coming? And I was like, no, we'll do this online. It's like, okay. But they asked me to show them the clip, so I have to, they'll be one of the first viewers of the episode.
That's good. That's good. So, what have you been up to? I know we don't really we keep in touch, but usually there's time that goes by with us talking. I just want you to tell me and the people watching what you've been up to, what's new in your life, and
Yeah, I mean, it's, at least I can see your face. Like we talk on the phone, but
that's
I
true.
haven't seen the beard, man. So that certainly is good. But no, it's family life. Those worry-free days playing soccer, for 3-4 hours a day, those days are gone, and it's family life. I have three daughters, 5-month old, uh, almost 5 and almost 7 years old.
Nice.
So as you know, I always said I'm gonna have a soccer team, of boys. Uh,
You're
and
getting there.
of course, God gives me three daughters, so I had to figure out the all the princesses' names and the dresses and the songs and all those things. So they definitely keep me busy. The youngest one is is ruling the household right now, and my grandparents are actually helping out, and we barely are able to keep up. So she's a tough one. We had a first child, second one. We're like, yeah, how bad could it be? And well, and plus we wanted to try for a boy, and after the third, I'm like, well, God's telling me like, dude, stop it. So I think the three girls is plenty, and just being a dad, being in the family, trying to keep them happy, busy, with the COVID is not easy, and having them just feel normal and
Yeah.
feel like they're having their childhood,
Yeah.
and actually that's where I see kind of the blessing of them being together, and there's
Yeah.
two, now three of them, because when you have only one child or whatnot, it's hard, and I mean, I'm sure that you can attest to that. It's
Yes,
for that
sir.
child,
Yes.
it's very difficult. Whereas, at least my daughters, they fairly close in age, and they can play together and can have some fun, because for a good stretch of 2020, there was no friends, there was no visitors, there was no nothing, so
That's very true. No, I can attest to that a little bit because I have a boy and he's by himself. I'm working from home, and he always want to play video games. If he had a sister or brother, I'll be a little bit, kind of out of their way, have them playing together and stuff like that. But it's just him, so he always want to play with mom and dad, and like it's tough. It's tough. It takes energy out of me. But uh one of the things that I was remembering is that you know how we met, you and I. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, how did we meet? I had a bunch of stories in my head, but I couldn't pinpoint exact moment where our friendship started. Can you remember? Do you have any idea of how we met?
I I think I do. I think I do. But we have to, after I tell you, we have to pinpoint a year, because that was very curious to me, and I couldn't put the puzzle together. Quite enough. But I do remember. I remember I met you. I was tutoring at Anoka Ramsey Community College, and you just swing by. Not necessarily that you were lost and needed help. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You were just like browsing, and we started talking, and I said, I could tell that you're not from here, because
For
your
sure, for sure.
primary language was French, and I think you told me that right away, that
Hmm.
you're from Togo, from West Africa, and I said right away, like, come play soccer. We're playing soccer here at the community college. Come join us. And I think that was how it started. And you came out, and we started kicking the ball around. There's 20, 30 of us. There was a good group that was there regularly. And to me, our friendship, how it started is, to me, really, as I reflect on it, is a perfect example of how powerful sports is.
Yes,
How it
I agree.
transcends cultures,
Hmm.
transcends countries, age differences, color difference, doesn't race, differences, whatever.
Right, right.
So for me, that was so powerful, as now I think about it, because soccer in life overall, and I'm sure you can say the same thing, it helped me meet more friends, immerse into a community, into a college, into work environment. Like I work at Thomson Reuters now, and that company has had a soccer team for years and years. And that was one of the first things that I did, was join the soccer team, and I remember when I started working there, I was still young, 20, I don't know, 3, 4 years old, like still a rookie, in the corporate world. And this VP, we have a meeting, and VP asked me like, hey, so how was your first month went? And I'm like, without a thought, I'm not telling him that, hey, I learned about this project, I learned about this. I'm like, I joined the soccer team. He looks at me, he's like, oh, good for you, like good thing we hired you. So,
That's funny.
that's just, but hey, I met people that down the road made me more welcome in the company. I felt belonging there, just helps you, integrate faster and, start feeling more comfortable and just more in your place. So
Yeah,
that's where, I think, I'm very thankful that, I started playing soccer back
yeah.
when I was 5 years old or 4 years old, because it helped me meet many, many different people, and obviously, the best one of them. So
No, no, you brought up a great point. The one of the point that I was going to make is that it's funny, right? I'm a scrawny kid from Africa, Togo, right? I come to America and I meet a guy from Europe, right? East Europe, Ukraine, and stuff like that. And this is like one of the situation where it's an unlikely, friendship. I could have met, I could have been great friend with someone from Mozambique, Benin,
sure,
Nigeria, but for some reason you and I we clicked, right? So you're right. Friendship really transcend race, transcend culture. It transcend a lot of things, and you and I we made it kind of like uh, we made it so obvious that we were going to learn about each other, right? We were going to know each other. Where are you from? Where I'm from, and kind of put that together so that our friendship is stronger. It actually made our friendship stronger. I remember you got me into tutoring. My bad. You got me into tutoring because when I saw you and we became friends, I put in an application to become a tutor, a French and math tutor. Right? Remember that?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you're right. And it's one of those things that friends are supposed to do that, right?
Yeah.
They're supposed to lead you towards something better. I think that's a true friend. It's not, you're not trying to pull somebody back, or if somebody goes higher, you're not trying to drag them back. You
Exactly.
try to push them, give them support, and that's why one of the things that I admire about you is, man, you went out and got your MBA. You went out and you're pursuing your PhD. I mean, what? That's amazing. And the only thing that I'm gonna struggle with is calling you a doctor. Like that. That's the only thing that,
You better call me a doctor.
that's the only thing that I will have hard time. But if I have to, if you don't pick up the phone anymore, then I'll have to call you a doctor. Oh,
No, you gotta call me. Like I will make it a thing. When I graduate, I will literally call you, and the first thing I want to hear from you is doctor. Right? I want you to say doctor. I
okay.
deserve to be called doctor. At least one person should
That
call
you
me.
know that day, graduation day, I guarantee you all day long I'll call you a doctor.
No,
So
no. All seriousness, before we move on, I just want people watching the show, people who's gonna be listening to us talking, to know that um I appreciate you. I appreciate your parents, your mom and dad. It's really funny because you guys embraced me. You opened your house to me. Like you didn't even think a second. Like I come to your house, your mom makes food for us, your dad is always there trying to teach us how to fix cars or do this. We were helping your dad playing football in the snow and stuff like that. They never questioned, who I was. They just accepted me. That was like one of the most, I want to say bizarre, but because I didn't believe that someone can accept me like that in their home that I never knew that I just met at school. I think your parents were even trying to adopt me, and you probably talked them out of it.
uh,
They were like, "We
yeah.
have to adopt this guy," and you was like, "Nah, having fun by myself."
uh, no, it's funny you mentioned that. Is it's right. If you think about it, but I think it goes back to kind of how we were raised, and how we raise our kids. How I try to do it is, you try to put the best into your child, so
Yes.
that when the time comes, they make the right decision. And for me, what that meant as well, how they embraced you as a friend, and stuff, that just told me that, hey, they trust me 100%. I bring a friend home. What does that tell them? Is they tell them that I I'm your friend, I believe in you, I know who you are, I speak for you, and they did not question it, one bit, and that's an example for me, how I need to raise my kids too, is if you teach them right versus wrong, when, when different situations in life come, they will know,
Yes.
a good person versus a bad person. And you can tell that right away. And, when I met you, I knew you were a good guy. It doesn't matter, where you're from, I always felt bad, you- except your uncle, correct me if I'm wrong, Uncle Raj, right? Roger?
Roger. Yes.
Roger. Uh, so except your uncle, I mean, you didn't really have, much family. So I always felt, like, man, I feel awful for him. He left his
That's
mom and
true.
dad, he left his sisters, brother, everybody, back home. So we tried to kind of, Thanksgiving comes,
Yeah.
I'm like, we gotta have the meal over. I mean, the poor guy is, got no family, you know what I mean? But then of course I know that your family was, like, this guy takes our, my nephew away on
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
No, no, that's very true. At some point, it was like, okay, this guy's taking my nephew away and stuff like that. But it was just fitting that I hang out with you more because you were my friend. We were close in age than him, and I just felt like I had to spend more time with you and stuff like that instead of trying to please him. I really didn't care about pleasing him. I hope he doesn't watch the show because this is gonna be bad.
No, no, he's a good guy. I only met him a few times, but he's a good guy. He's a hardworking guy, and
Yes.
he's another example of a true, American story, that the guy
Yeah.
comes from Africa and does everything in his power, to make it here, and to succeed. And he's had so many jobs, you've told me over the
Yeah.
past, and he's always working. He's always looking for, better opportunities. So he's, that's the kind of people I definitely respect,
No, that's definitely true. That guy's when it comes to hard working, he's kind of like my inspiration for like someone just going out there and hustling and grounding and trying to like make it. The American dream that we got preached. That was the reason why I came over here. So yeah, he really does that. But there's one thing that I struggle with. I don't think I did, but I struggle with a little bit, right? Coming from Africa, right? My culture, trying to kind of take my culture and take American culture and put it all together and make it work, right? So that's one thing that I think I struggle with a little bit. I just wanted to hear your perspective on. I know you were younger when you came in America, but still, I want to kind of hear your perspective on how you were able to blend your Ukrainian, way of living, your Ukrainian culture, with American culture, right, and Midwest culture. I just want to hear how you were able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the beginning it was tough. I'm not gonna lie. I came in, what was I? This was 10th grade of high school.
Yeah,
So you're kind of in that age where, in high school, people have their circle of friends. Especially, I find it here in Midwest. I don't know why, but people are in these little silos. And
yes,
having lived here for so long, I'm probably like that now too.
that's true.
But
That's true.
but they are, in high school, they were kind of like that, a lot of them. So it was kind of hard to blend in at first. So the way I did it is, I thought, what, I just need to learn English. I need to be really good. I knew that I'm going to go into a good college, and I knew that I need to get really good education, because I do not, I want to make it. My parents came
For
here
sure, for sure.
to give me education, to give me a better life. So I cannot fail them, and I cannot, you know, do do something else. I mean, there was no failing for me, because they gave me everything. Not like you, where you came on your own. I mean, that's even harder. For me, everything is right here. My mom cooks you food, dad takes care of your bills. Just go to school and study. Do what you're supposed to do. So that's what I did, and I think I immersed myself into school. I just started to take. I mean, to tell you, like one of the first episodes, my first before I start my 10th grade in high school, right? I go there, and this what do you call them? The guys that help you
Yes.
with credits in high school.
Yeah. As an advisor,
Counselor or
counselor,
some
counselor. Yeah.
whatever, you know. So
Yeah.
this guy, I meet with him, and he's supposed to help me, you know. And
Yes.
he's like, "So what are you taking, this fall?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" So in Ukraine, you have a set schedule
Y-
for school year. Like you're
Yes.
not picking anything, you know. Like you have biology, chemistry, physics, math, and physical education, whatever. Here it's like, what are you picking? Volleyball, strength training, and I'm looking at him like, what do you mean?
What do you
you know,
mean?
like don't
Can I
am I?
do that?
Yeah, aren't I supposed to take like math and biology? He's like, oh, you want to do that? Like, so at that point, I knew I cannot. I need to think with my head. Like I cannot let the system or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. I cannot dictate it. I need to think with my head and pick, the right path for me. And that's what I did. And eventually in life, just 1 year goes by, second year goes by. In 2 years, I went to 11th grade in high school, and in 12th grade, I was doing PSEO, right?
Wow.
Post-secondary
Yeah. Yeah.
education program, whatever. So you're in 12th grade of high school, but you're in college. So
Yes.
all of that year, I was full-time student at the community college taking my generals. I come into my during the summer before I start the college to the tutoring center. My mom always has this great ideas. Like
Yeah.
I've heard somebody was a tutor. Like
Just go.
you can be a tutor. I'm like, yeah. How do I do it? How do I become a tutor?
Yeah.
I can barely still speak English. And if you want me to teach something, just go try. Okay. In the summertime, I go and knock on the door at Anatol Ramsey. And I say, hey, my name is Yuri. I want to be a tutor. And I'm like 18 years old, right? And this is college, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody's in their 20s or whatever. I'm still in high school. And so I come there, I want to be a tutor. And this person looks at me, she looks how young I am probably. And she's like, what can you do? And I say, well, I can help with math and physics, chemistry. And I listed literally like 7 or 8 things. And she's like, okay, you can start on Monday.
Wow.
you know, and that was it. That was my
Yeah.
interview. And I was like, so did I get the job? She's like, yeah. Do I need
You
to
got
sign
the
anything?
job.
I'm like, do I need to sign anything? It's like, no, just come
Nope.
on Monday. I'll give you a paper to sign. I'm like, this is
There you go.
amazing, And at that time it was like $10 or whatever an hour, and I
Yeah.
was working part time as just a side gig making pizza, at Domino's. So for me, this was
Yeah.
promotion, But again, what? How did I get there? It's coming in 10th grade. Instead of doing volleyball
Yes.
and strength training, which is great, don't get me wrong, you need to do that, but you need to combine it with real subjects, real, classes that you will get
Education,
something
like
out of it.
exactly.
In 11th grade in high school, I've done calculus already, college level calculus, but I already went through it. I felt like I'm just maybe learning just a little bit more.
Yes.
So all of that work that I've done in the first couple of years while I came here, it paid off later on. So for me, when you ask me the question, how did you kind of come over and immerse yourself into American culture? For me, it was hard,
Yeah.
because it's a big change. You're in high school, you don't have a car, you cannot drive because I was still 15 years old. Like it, there's not much you could do. So all I did was throw myself into school, throw myself into just try to do hard work, and later on, I definitely benefited from that. So for
No,
those who, sorry, for those who kind of in between or listening that thinking what should I do, you can never go wrong with hard work and investing into yourself, especially education.
no, that's true. Same here. Coming from Africa, having that African culture, it was a little bit tough, because we are thought to live certain ways, right? To think certain ways, and we are more into like black and white. There's no gray area. You come to American culture where there's gray area, right? You can play on the left side a little bit, on the right side a little bit. You have that boundary where you can play within that kind of environment. It was really really tough for me. And like you said, school was the only thing, and I was lucky enough to meet people like you at the get go, right? And as you guys were working hard trying to pass your classes, I was working hard trying to pass my classes because I was looking for excuses to fail and get out of school and tell my parents or my loved ones that it didn't work out. But meeting people like you,
Yeah.
it was like you have to do it, So it pushed me a little bit, and I really want to thank you for that, and some of the other friends that hopefully I can have them on here to talk about our friendship and stuff like that.
No, I agree. I feel like we had a good group of people that we kind of hang out with, and
Yeah,
they all were going to a certain goal. They all had something in mind, and I think we've all gotten to it. I'm not gonna say we made it or we
yeah.
achieved it because we
But we
always
got
moving
something.
forward, but I think most of us, that were kind of tight at that time, we got somewhere, so
Yeah.
that's certainly
No,
good.
no, for sure, we got somewhere. And now that we came here, we can consider ourselves our kids. First generation. We are immigrants, right? We can consider our kids as first generation. And our goal now is to kind of give them our culture mixed with that American culture, and we are the example, right, for our kids, right? The way we act, right? Talking about culture, talking about leadership and stuff like that. It's the way they view us, the way we act around them. They will take that and they will go outside, right? One good example is in my house, right? My kid knows who's the leader, who's in charge, right? If I tell him to do something, hell no, he's not doing until mommy says you have to do it, right? That's how it is. I
Yeah.
just wanted to see how the dynamic at your house, how the kids, you and the wife, how does it work? Who who
No,
who, who have they listened to?
yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I'll tell you a little funny story, kind of dumb story, but whatever. So, um, the other day, maybe a week ago, so I have keep in mind, I have 5 month old. She's to the side, but I have a almost 7 year old, and an almost 5 year old. And so I went to a store and bought them something tasty, some candy, whatever it was. I don't remember. Close to Valentine's Day, I just got them something. And, I come home and I tell them that, hey guys, there was this little squirrel running beside the road, and she told me that, hey, you have two daughters at home, give this to them. And my younger one, Yana, she's like, wow, what else did she say? And then the older one's like, did mommy say it's okay to eat candy? I was like, what the heck? Like this is between you, the squirrel, and me. Like, well, why you bring mommy into here?
Yep.
But that's kind of how it is, and it's all good. I'm not mad at all. I think as they grow, mommy is first of all, and I'm sure the same in your household, is a
Oh, for
great
sure, for
example.
sure.
It's a great example, and there's nothing wrong with it. So please,
Yep.
be like her. Everything will be good. But at the same time, what I'm seeing, as they get older, is they start to kind of pick up on things like
Yeah.
that is not as dumb as as he may seem, or whatever, like he actually knows stuff, like
He
so
knows.
you start to see that, and I try to be. I'm sure you're the same way because I know you. You try to be a goofy a little bit, a
Oh
goofball
yeah.
because hey, we can't sit at home and and look gloomy and doomy all day long. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like we gotta have fun. So they look at me and they're like, man, this guy. It's like, it's. But now I think as they get older, they go to school and like daddy knows the alphabet. Like what?
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. Like he can count. Like he can add numbers. He can subtract. Like wow, I can actually ask him stuff, like serious stuff. So it's nice. It's nice. And one thing I try to do is I try to not push them, but try to get them into sports a little bit. They're
Yes.
doing dancing,
Hmm.
like Latino dancing, the the rumba, zumba, cha cha cha, that stuff. But I'm trying to like get them into God forbid, tennis.
Yeah.
you know.
Oh man, don't talk about tennis. We're not talking about tennis today. No
Uh,
tennis today.
so like no, no, seriously, like for a girl,
Yeah.
tennis. I told you for many years, tennis for girls is like the best sport ever because you can make it, you can make money, and it's not injury free, but you're not gonna get a concussion in tennis.
Oh
You know what
yeah,
I
for
mean?
sure,
So
for sure.
it's a good sport, and I try to like steer them. I'm not pushing
Sure.
them, but we're not there yet. It's
No, no. I mean, like, we had our Nadal and Federal days, so I'm not gonna bring that in here. I'm gonna leave that to the side because that's the most embarrassing that we ever done in our lives.
you,
People
you
used
know
to make fun of us.
I remember a story the other day. A funny story, real quick. So when my wife comes over from Ukraine,
Yeah.
like you meet her like on the second, third, fourth day. I don't know what it was, and you say hi, I'm Damir, blah blah blah. Like third or fourth thing comes out of your mouth is whatever you do not play tennis with. and and my
True,
wife looks
true.
at me, and my wife looks at me. She's like, I already did.
That's true.
So it did not go well, and I don't think we played since then. So
No, it's funny because talking about tennis, you were one of those guys. We just playing for fun, but I feel
I'm
like
self-taught too.
when you miss a point, it's like you want to like smack your racket and you want to smack your racket. But no, no, those were the fun days. I'm not gonna lie. There's plenty of stories like that, but one thing that I want to bring in is I remember you joined a team, a soccer team, and that team was like all Hispanic, right? It was
Oh
like
yeah,
all
yep.
Hispanic, and you brought me in to play. And I remember every time we played, we tend to like pass each other. I'll pass you the ball, you pass me the ball, I'll pass you back, and then you shoot it. I don't know if you remember this because I never told you. Um, so what happened was the you passed me the ball, I passed you back, and you passed me again. And I had a clear shot on goal and I took it and I missed it wide. But one of the guys was open that I could have passed it to, and the guy could have scored. But I took the shot and I missed. And the guy's like, pendejo. And I started jugging. I'm like, I didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't know what he was talking about. So I thought it was like, he said, oh, you get him next time. I didn't speak Spanish. That thing was so funny, man. But
It,
yeah, it was one of those things that you always did. Everything that you do, you always want to bring me in. And I really appreciate that about you, man. Yeah. I don't know if you remember any story about that group, but yeah, we had a lot of fun playing soccer.
I remember one time, just again a funny story from a soccer days, but I remember running and shooting the ball on goal, and like the shot just skewed, like it just went, like just went. It was bad, I was like, oh man, So one of the guys runs up to me, says, "Hey Yuri, like next time, try to shoot on goal." And like
It's
was
like,
was all seriousness, like was all like trying to help me,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see it. You can literally do it. He
And I
doesn't
was
need to
just like,
tell you.
I couldn't. I always like fell down laughing. I couldn't take it. I was like, where else can I go from here? This is
Yeah,
the
man.
top. Oh,
It's funny. No, we did have a lot of fun, but I know we have plenty more to talk about. What I want to do is have you come back again. We can pinpoint a great story because I made a list like about 10 stories that we had together. There's more than plenty. So what I
yep,
want to do is bring you on again a few months down the road so we can pick a specific topic that has to do with either leadership, or something that had to do with like a specific culture thing that happened to us, culture shock or like something like that. So we can discuss with people watching. But I know you have to run. You have to go put the kids to bed and stuff like that.
yep.
My kid right now is making a lot of noise. I think it's gonna be a lot of people gonna hear noises while we're talking because you can't keep him down, man. That guy's a Hulk, so he does his thing. But I just want to thank you for coming on the show, to being the first, and hopefully this thing works out and we can have more to share. So
Oh,
before we go, I just want to give you the last word.
no, I mean, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. You're doing great job with this, and I'm sure you will have many successful episodes, and and
Hope
visitors,
so.
and I hope you have many viewers because I think the message that you can portray and some of the stories from your life that you will be able to share because you do have a lot of stories, a lot of perspective, a lot of feedback. I'm sure that whoever views, your channel will find it useful and will find it applicable in their lives. Again, thank you for having me. So I really appreciate it, and it's definitely nice to see you. So
Oh yeah.
whenever you do invite me, I'll be sure to come on. So
No, no, you're gonna come on plenty because I think we have a lot to share. There's a lot of things I want to talk about, but we want to spread it out and make it more relevant. Today's topic, I just wanted to get us and talk about what we've been up to, reminisce a little bit, talk about family and stuff like that. But in the future, it's just gonna be about you and I. How we dealt with a lot of things and how we came to be who we are in America. So thanks for coming on, and I hope to see you soon. And but next time, I'm having my nephew come on. So he's the young upcoming generation of immigrants. So I want to see his perspective on American lives, and he participated in Black Lives Matter stuff. So I want to bring him on to talk about that, his experience and all of that. Thank you, Yuri.
sounds
Say
good.
hi to the family,
Say hi
and
to the family as
see you
well.
next
Thank you,
time.
Damir.
All
Take
right,
care.
man. See you.